Have you ever thought back to your school days and thought about how did we all make it through? From chalk flying through the air to the scary cane in the 1960s classroom was in the corner a universe with its own rules, and none of them would pass today. Teachers were rigorous, hard to predict, and sometimes scary, but somehow we completely respected them. Here are 15 things instructors did in the 1960s that would really surprise parents now, putting the best last. The cane is number one. That, boom, the piercing wallop that echoed down the hallway may make everyone get quiet. School. The cane wasn't a danger. It was a promise. It hung behind the like a warning sign on the teacher's desk, ready for anyone who stepped out of line. Line, if you talked back, forgot your homework, or even smiled at the wrong, you could be called up for 6 of them at any time. The best, it didn't matter who you were. Heddon's cane, gym teacher's slipper, and even rulers across the knuckles. Some kids learned to sit on one side for a week following a nice concealing. Parents didn't say anything. They nodded and replied, "You must have earned it." It would be on the first page of the news. It was back then Tuesday. Second, throwing the board rubber. There was one in every classroom, a massive, heavy a wooden eraser covered in chalk dust. And every teacher had a perfect throw arm. If you weren't paying attention, "Are you listening, boy?" you'd hear. Then a thud on your desk. Some teachers didn't even look at you. They threw it in your general direction for the sake of drama. It happened sometimes, it missed occasionally, and sometimes it didn't. A puff of a gasp from everyone, then laughter from the rest of the class. No parent-teacher meetings, no incident report, no trauma counseling. You just rubbed your sat up straight, kept your head up, and stayed awake throughout the rest of class. Third, standing in the corner. Music when you did anything wrong, it wasn't quiet. It was humiliating, not detention. Go stand in the corner, the words every kid feared. You would be standing there looking at the wall as your classmates giggled behind you. Some teachers made you hold books out at arm's length, your arms blazing while everyone watched. You didn't talk, you didn't move. You just prayed for the bell to ring. It wasn't about reflection. It was about making in for you, and it worked. Everyone else instantly acted flawlessly. 4. Smoking in the break area, you could smell it from the hallway. That heavy, dark cloud of cigarette smoke coming out of the staff room door whenever opened, teachers would sit shoulder to shoulder, smoking away between classes with cups of strong tea, have a lot of papers to grade in front of them. The stench would stick on their clothes. You could tell exactly which teacher had just got back from a break. Some of them even smoked. While walking back and forth in the hall or standing by the window in the classroom. Today, they would be taken off the property with an escort. At that time, it was just a normal part of school life. Cigarettes and chalk, the official smell of schooling. Number 5 is favoritism. Every instructor has one, their golden child. Child, the one who got to give out the books, lead the line to the assembly, or sit in front of the class. They were trusted, praised, and always somehow got away with it, the rest of us. We found out that life isn't fair, especially when the favorite gets more candy at the holiday season. Teachers didn't keep it a secret. Not either. You could almost hear the tone. When they said the word, their voice got softer. Favorite's name. But we want to complain, but a part of us wanted to be that child, the one the teacher chose with smile. Number 6, punishment for everyone. One person muttered throughout a test. The whole class stayed late. Someone flicked an eraser. Everyone wrote lines. There was no detective work done. No. Who did it? Punishing everyone was faster, and it worked. We learned teamwork through terror. You'd give the troublemaker, quietly promising to get them back during break. Modern parents might say it's not fair. We named it Tuesday. Number 7, regulations for boys and girls. Schools in the 60s ran on double standards. Girls had to wear skirts, keep their knees together, and do as young females. People advised, The boys to toughen up and stop sobbing and playing rugby in the freezing rain. Girls did sewing. Boys did woodwork. Even the sanctions were not the same. The boys got caned, girls got told off. The message was plain. It was already decided what would happen in the future. Seeing it's surprising to look back. At the time, that's just how things were. Number 8 is to scrub the blackboard. At the end of the day, someone would be picked to clean the blackboard. The highest honor and the dirtiest work. You get those thick, dusty erasers outside and clap them together until the air plenty of white clouds. By the time your clothes and face were done when you were done. In chalk, we coughed, we sneezed, and we believed it was great. No gloves, no masks, no risky evaluation. Just the pleasure of seeing that cloud float into the air in the afternoon. Today, it came with a caution sign. 9. Instructors taking you by the ear. If you didn't listen, they would seize you by the ear and lead you back into line. It not perceived as violent, just effective. It was sometimes a hand on a touch on the shoulder or a crisp tap on the back of the head. You didn't send in a complaint. You said, "I'm sorry, sir," and went on. It taught respect right away, even if it made you blush. These days, that would be on the news at night. News. It was discipline back then. It hurts and is old-fashioned, yet it worked. Number 10, open fires and no safety rules. There was no health and safety. There were open stoves in classrooms, broken desks, and huge radiators you'd get burned on your leg. Lessons in science had bare flames and bubbling chemicals. No gloves or goggles. The wood shop smelled like sawdust and danger. We experimented with mercury and cut up frogs and utilized tools that no child should ever touch. But we learned and lived. You didn't need to ask for permission. Slips, just common sense and a little bit of good luck. 11. Bottles of milk in the classroom. Every morning, small glass bottles of someone left milk at the door. By when the time came for a break, they were warm, creamy, and slightly sour, especially in the summer. But you still drank it because everyone did. Some youngsters adored it. Others tried to hide theirs behind a desk leg. And if you didn't drink it, the teacher made sure you did. No one wasted milk. It was free, nutritious, and evidently character-building. Number 12, public humiliation for blunders. It wasn't only marked wrong to spell a word poorly. In crimson ink, there were a lot of people there. You'd be called to the front with chalk in hand to write it over and again until you got it yes, 10 times, 20 times. The class watched in silence, scared and partly thankful it wasn't them. There weren't any calm conversations or soft pushes. The lesson was easy. Don't get it wrong again. And, shockingly, it worked. Number 13, school travels without a seat belts. School trips were a mess. A lot of kids packed into an aging carriage with no seats belts, no air conditioning, and no concept where you were going. The teacher sat up front reading a newspaper while the driver smoked. Half of the kids were half of them singing and the other half trying not to feel nauseous in the car. Someone always forgot their lunch, and at least one of them the child misplaced a shoe. But they were some of the happiest days of our lives. We made it home tired, sunburned, and cheerful, and somehow still alive. Number 14, getting yelled at in front of moms and dads. There was no privacy in the 1960s if the instructor said your mom arrived to get you. Would offer a detailed report right there at the gate loudly. Your son has been talking all week and failed his math again. There were no emails home or private meetings, just instant shame. And by the time you'd get the second when you got home, round, the slipper and the chuckle, number 15, the cane, the ruler, and the slipper. They became famous on the playground. We talked tales of who had the worst punishment and how they dealt with it champ. It was a mix of terror and pride. Weird, but true. The teachers were in charge, with authority, and even when we thought we respected them even though they were monsters. It's hard to believe now when I look back. It was all seen as regular and severe, unfair and occasionally mean, but you'll never forget. It wasn't easy to go to school in the 1960s, and it definitely wasn't gentle. But it did have something we don't see too often these days. Discipline, respect, and a feeling that we were all learning about life as much as lessons. It wasn't ideal, but it might be that's why it still sticks in my mind. Those classrooms, the smell of chalk in the air and polish, the ring of the bell, they made us who we are. And even though parents now would be horrified, those were the days. We'll always remember.